Right, so the sun has come out. It is glorious again in the afternoon. Very grateful, happy days. Makes all the difference. Everyone's happy and the energy's up. Going on about Julia Hartley-Brewer. I do love her and I do agree with her 9 out of 10 times, which is as much as you can expect really. And I think we live in a world where people's expectations are absurd, and they think that as soon as they maybe disagree with someone that they've agreed with all their lives, they suddenly have to hate them and stop supporting them. I'm a grown-up. I realise that with any relationship, you're never going to agree all the time. But like I said, Julia is pretty switched on. She's very switched on, very intelligent lady. And she sees through like the propaganda with the Gaza situation and the BBC with their bias. She sees through the COVID lockdowns. Bit questionable, I think, with the vaccines, but I think she's started to see through those. And she very much sees through the net zero nonsense. But when it comes to Russia, Ukraine, like so many, she's completely dogmatic and refuses to look at any alternative view or balanced view, and it's just all in on the Ukraine side. And then today she said she thought Zelensky was what would go down in history as one of the best ever leaders in wartime, which personally makes my mouth drop. Like, really? Have you not seen everything everyone else is seeing with the coke sniffing and the money going missing and his wife constantly shopping on the Champs-Elysees, spending millions, and Ukrainian leaders buying up real estate in Switzerland and LA, I think it is, in cash. But I'm sniffing again, sorry. With Ukraine, I'm not on anyone's side, like I've said so many times before, and so many people go, oh, Russian apologists, blah blah, boring, childish. Now I'm on the side of peace, that's it. Peace reigns supreme for me, and I don't pertain to be an expert in any way, but I do think I'm quite a balanced person and generally quite well informed. And if I was to give this as an example, so with Ukraine, let's say it's Scotland. So if Scotland had an elected president and America went in there and removed that president and put in a different preferred candidate, and America moved in pretty much into Scotland and put military in there and a lot of politicians and heavyweights to sway how Scotland was governed, and they had military and they opened loads of biolabs on the English border, and then they had like a 10-year war against like an eastern part of Scotland that was mostly native English people and killed thousands. And then they banned the English language, they banned the English religion, and they passed a law that pretty much said you were allowed to discriminate against ethnic English people legally. Would England not be bothered by that? And then if England sent an army into Scotland, but pretty much only went into the eastern provinces where English people were being killed for the last decade, and they wanted NATO out, who'd promised they wouldn't come anywhere near, and for them to back off from English borders and to close down the biolabs. Would you not think that the English were perfectly reasonable to do that and quite restrained if they just kept that eastern part and didn't go for Edinburgh and Glasgow and big cities and try and take over the whole place? Because that's basically what I could tell is what's going on in Ukraine, Russia. Again, I might be wrong, but that is the viewpoint of many. And it just surprises me that a great journalist and intelligent lady like Julia and others don't ever stop to look at the other side and listen to world-class experts like Jeffrey Sachs, who really knows what he's talking about and has been in meetings with people who are pulling the ropes around this whole saga. Anyway, as I said, for me, peace reigns supreme, and that is all I want. And on the flip side today, you hear a lot of chat from the EU as ever, talking about a European army, which I don't understand the need for. And is it simply just as like a childish kind of backlash to Trump? Would they have been calling for this if Biden was still in power? Like, what would the purpose of a European army be? Like, if all our countries in Europe have their own armies, and if only they built those up and supported those like they should properly, then if there was any issue, those armies would all properly come together and support each other anyway. And if we had an issue against Russia, which I don't think we would, but maybe China or Iran, then we would need NATO. If we didn't have NATO, it would be over in days. So what would the point be? I don't get it. And it's something that EU lovers have spoken about for a long time, is this European army. And again, in my opinion, it's the reason why governments like the UK government have purposely, in my opinion, driven down our own army. So it's beyond weak and inept, and not funded it, and spent decades telling generations that being masculine's bad, being patriotic's bad, saying there's 1,000 genders, whatever. And then they wonder why the amount of people signing up to the military is at record lows. Has it been done on purpose? And then they say, well, we have to join together as a European army. Maybe. Anyway, yeah, just the Julia thing really bamboozled me today. Didn't quite get that one, but you know, I guess you don't always have to agree or understand everybody all the time. Anyway, really, really happy that the blue sky and white clouds have appeared that the weather forecast promised today. So for once it has turned out to be true, the weather forecast. It took a while, but it's here. Happy days. Have a good day, people.